Hey there, and welcome to Tales by June, where hearts break, heal, and sometimes seek revenge. Let's begin today's story.
Hey, before we begin, let me know where you're watching from. I love seeing how far these stories travel. And if you enjoy this kind of content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.
I never planned to go to the club that night. Ryan had invited me before, again and again, but I always said no. I hated loud places, flashing lights, the smell of alcohol and sweat. He said I was too soft for his world, but he said it with a smile, so I always laughed it off. But that night, I wanted to surprise him. He had been distant lately, fewer calls, colder messages, and excuses that didn't make sense. "I'm just tired," he'd say. "You worry too much." So, I told myself I'd do something sweet. Something that would remind him how much I cared. I remember how carefully I got ready. I ironed the blue dress he once said he loved. "You look like the ocean in that one, baby." I curled my hair, added a little perfume, and slipped on the silver bracelet he gave me for my birthday. My chest fluttered with nervous excitement. I kept thinking about his smile when he'd see me walk in. I wanted to be his reason to breathe again. The rain had just stopped when I reached the club. The street was wet and shining with reflections from the neon signs. I could hear the bass from a block away, heavy and alive. I smiled, clutched my purse, and whispered, "He's going to be so happy I came." The security guard checked my ID and waved me through. The moment I stepped inside, I was swallowed by noise, laughter, music, people shouting over one another. My heart was pounding as I walked toward the stage area, trying to spot Ryan. Then I heard his voice. It came from a hallway near the VIP room. That familiar tone, smooth and confident, the one that used to melt me. He was laughing, surrounded by his friends. I stopped. And then I heard my name. "Bro, your girl texted me again," one of them said. "She asked what kind of cake you like. You really got her wrapped around your finger." Ryan's voice came next, lazy, amused. "Yeah, she's obsessed. I told her once that my dream birthday would be at that 5-star hotel downtown. You know, the one with the rooftop pool? Guess who's been calling around to book it?" His friends burst into laughter. "No way," someone said. "Swear," Ryan replied, grinning. I didn't even ask directly. Just dropped a hint like, "Man, it'd be amazing to wake up there on my birthday." Next morning, she texts, "Leave it to me, babe." The laughter grew louder. One of the guys snorted. "She's like your personal genie." Ryan raised his drink. "Exactly. My genie. One wish and she delivers. Money, favors, anything I want." Another friend joined in, his voice mocking. "What's next? You gonna wish for a new car?" Ryan laughed. "Nah, she's not rich enough for that. But she'll find a way. She always does." You should have seen her face the last time I said I loved her, like she'd been blessed or something. The group howled. Someone said, "Man, you're evil." Ryan smirked. "No, I'm smart. She's useful. And harmless. You gotta keep girls like that around. They make you feel like a king without asking for anything back." The laughter stabbed at me again and again. My ears rang. My hands turned cold. I was standing only a few feet from the door, frozen, breath shallow, my fingers still resting on the handle. For a second, I thought maybe they didn't mean me. Maybe it was some twisted joke. But then Ryan spoke again, and this time, there was no mistaking it. "She's not the kind of girl you marry," he said, voice low but clear. "She's the kind you use until something better comes along." His friends roared again, slapping his shoulder, shouting over the music. "Cheers to that. Man, she's gonna book your birthday like a wife and not even get a ring. Don't forget to thank your genie." My stomach turned. My heart ached so violently, I thought I might collapse. All the nights I stayed up editing his videos, writing his lyrics, cheering him on when no one else believed. And this was what I was to him? A joke. A fool. A servant dressed as a girlfriend. The hallway felt smaller, tighter. I couldn't breathe. I took one step back, praying they wouldn't see me. My eyes burned, but no tears came yet. Only disbelief. I pressed my hand to my mouth to keep from making a sound. His laughter echoed again, rich and cruel. I left quietly, before I could hear more. Outside, the air was cold. The city lights looked blurry, almost unreal. I walked fast, my heels clicking against the wet pavement. I didn't even notice the rain starting again until it soaked through my hair. I kept replaying his words in my head. My genie. My fool. Not the kind you marry. Each word hit harder than the last. By the time I reached the main road, my face was wet from rain, maybe tears. I couldn't tell anymore. I called a cab. The driver asked if I was okay. I nodded without speaking.
My voice was gone.
All I could see was Ryan's face, smiling, lying, laughing. The ride home felt endless. The city passed in streaks of color, red, blue, gold. I kept thinking about how blind I'd been. How many times I believed his promises. How many times I told myself that love meant giving everything, even when it hurt. When I finally reached my apartment, I didn't turn on the lights. I just walked to the mirror and stared. The girl looking back at me wasn't the same one who left a few hours ago. Her eyes were dull. Her smile was gone. Her hands were shaking. I whispered, "You're pathetic." Then I whispered it again, not because I believed it, but because it's what he would have said. The silence in my room was heavy. I sat on the floor, pulled my knees to my chest, and let the tears finally come, soft at first, then uncontrollable. Every memory hurt. Every lie burned. I thought about deleting his number, blocking him, pretending none of it ever happened. But instead, I stared at my phone and whispered, "No, not yet." Because somewhere beneath the heartbreak, something else was growing. Something colder. He thought I was his fool. His genie. The girl who existed only to make his life easier. But that night, something inside me shifted forever. The pain hardened into purpose. The love turned into clarity. The girl who adored him died. And the woman who would make him regret it, she was born right there, in the quiet of my small apartment, soaked in rain and betrayal.
I didn't know how yet. I didn't know when.
But I made a promise, whispered it through tears to the broken reflection in front of me. "I'll make you remember my name, Ryan. Not as your genie, but as the one wish you'll regret ever making." It's strange looking back now. Everything that once felt like love now feels like a well-written lie. Back then, I was just a girl who believed kindness could fix people. I grew up in a world where problems were solved with money, not emotion. My family was one of those polished ones, the kind that smiled in public and shattered in private. My father owned a chain of hotels across the country. My mother was always dressed in silk and silence. Our house was full of art, chandeliers, and cold air. I was their only child, the obedient daughter who did everything right.
Grades.
Manners. Reputation. But inside, I was lonely. So lonely that when Ryan looked at me for the first time, I mistook attention for love. We met during my second year of college. It was raining that morning, the kind of soft drizzle that made everyone run for shelter. I was sitting under the campus arch, reading, when someone dropped a coffee cup right beside me. "Sorry." "My fault," a voice said. I looked up and there he was. Ryan. He was everything my world wasn't. Messy hair, ripped jeans, easy smile. He had that kind of charm that made you forget what you were doing. He picked up the cup, flashed me a grin, and said, "Guess the rain wanted us to meet." I laughed, nervous, surprised, flattered. That was the beginning. He was a music major, though half the time he skipped class to hang out with his band. I was the business student who always sat in the front row, always on time. We were opposites in every possible way. But maybe that's why it felt exciting. He started showing up wherever I was: the library, the courtyard, the cafe near campus. He said I made his chaos feel calm. And I believed him. Before long, we were inseparable. He'd wait for me after lectures, carrying my bag even though I told him not to. He'd play guitar for me under the old oak tree, singing off-key but smiling like I was the only one who mattered. He'd whisper things like, "You make me want to be better." I thought I'd found something real. Ryan came from a very different world. He didn't have much: a small apartment, part-time jobs, constant money struggles. He talked about it with a kind of bitter pride, like he wanted to prove he didn't need anyone's help. But I wanted to help anyway. When his guitar broke before a performance, I paid for the repair. When he couldn't afford textbooks, I accidentally bought extras and gave them to him. He'd argue for a bit, then smile and say, "You're an angel." Every time he said that, I felt seen, needed,
Loved.
Then came his friends, the ones who always followed him around like shadows. There was Liam, the drummer. Loud, always joking, but with a sharp tongue that cut too easily. He liked to make fun of people, and sometimes I was his favorite target. "Oh, look, Ryan's princess is here," he'd say when I arrived. "Did you bring snacks and cash?" Then there was Ethan, the quiet one. He rarely spoke, just watched. I used to think he was shy. Later, I realized he was just waiting to see how much I'd tolerate. And then Mia, the only girl in their circle. Beautiful, confident, always near Ryan. She was the cool best friend, the one who swore they were just close. But the way she looked at him said otherwise. I ignored the tension. I told myself I was overthinking. Love makes you blind. And I was completely blind. Ryan loved to talk about dreams. He wanted to become famous, play in big cities, make music that meant something. I used to listen to him talk for hours, eyes bright with hope. I wanted that for him, even more than he wanted it himself. He'd hold my hand and say, "When I make it big, you'll be there. Front row. My girl." And I'd smile and whisper, "Always." Sometimes, he'd complain about how hard life was for him. "How can I chase dreams when I'm broke?" He'd sigh. "You don't get it. You have everything." And I'd feel guilty for being born into a world he resented. So I tried harder. I gave more. I helped him get gigs through my family's contacts. I introduced him to people who could sponsor his events. I even lent him money. Though he always said, "I'll pay you back," he never did. But I didn't care, because I thought that's what love was, giving without keeping score. My parents didn't like him. My mother said he was using me. My father warned me he wasn't our kind. But I defended Ryan every time.
"You don't know him," I said.
"He's different." Now I realized they did know. They just saw the truth before I did. There were signs. Little red flags I ignored. Like the night he canceled our anniversary dinner because the guys planned something last minute. Later, I saw photos online, him at a bar with Mia sitting too close. Or the way he'd get irritated when I asked simple questions. "You're being clingy," he'd say. "Can't you just trust me?" And I did. Every single time. Because love, to me, meant believing him even when it hurt. Now, when I look back, every memory feels like a scene from a movie where the ending was already written. I just didn't know it. I remember the night he first said, "I love you." We were sitting on the hood of his car, parked near the lake.
The stars were bright.
His voice was soft. He said, "You make me feel like I matter." I cried. He kissed my forehead. It felt pure then.
Honest.
Now it just feels rehearsed. I remember his friends teasing him when I wasn't around. "Your rich girl's gonna save us all, man." He used to laugh it off, but sometimes I caught a smirk, a quiet, knowing one. I thought it was pride. Now I know it was satisfaction. I lie awake some nights, thinking about the first time I introduced him to my parents. The dinner, the awkward silence, the fake smiles. Ryan held my hand under the table and whispered, "They hate me." I told him no, they were just protective. He looked at me with those deep brown eyes and said, "Promise you'll never turn into them." I promised. And I kept that promise, even when he broke every one of his. It's strange, the things you remember once the truth comes out. The way he'd smile at me when he wanted something. The way he'd say, "baby," right before asking for a favor. The way he'd call my love loyalty, while treating it like a free service. Now, when I close my eyes, every beautiful moment feels poisoned. The lake, the laughter, the hugs, the songs. They weren't memories of love. They were pieces of manipulation wrapped in affection. I used to think he was my greatest love story. Now I know he was just the lesson that broke me open. And as I sit here tonight, replaying everything, I can feel that quiet promise I made to myself growing stronger. Not a promise of hate, not even of revenge, though part of me still craves it, but a promise of awakening. He thought I was his genie. He thought I'd keep granting wishes forever. But soon, he'll see that even genies can stop granting and start taking back. They say love makes you blind. I think it also makes you deaf to the alarms ringing right in front of you. After that night outside the club, I kept replaying everything that had led up to it. Every small lie, every manipulation disguised as a favor. And suddenly, the picture became clear, the pattern, the trap. Ryan had been taking from me long before I realized it. Not just money, but time, energy, hope. It started small, so small it almost seemed harmless. The first time was during our second semester together. He'd been talking for weeks about a chance to play at a music festival. It was supposed to be his big break. But the entry fee was high, and he didn't have it. He came to me one night after practice, his face pale, eyes downcast. "Babe, I don't know what to do," he said. "This festival could change everything for me. But I can't afford the registration. They're closing applications tomorrow." I remember how desperate he looked, how his hands trembled slightly as he ran them through his hair. Without thinking, I said, "How much is it?" He hesitated. "You don't have to." "How much, Ryan?" He finally whispered the number. It was more than what most students could spare, but it was nothing compared to my allowance. So I transferred it that night. He hugged me tight and whispered, "You're my angel. I'll pay you back the moment I win." He didn't win, and he never mentioned the money again. At the time, I brushed it off. He stressed. I told myself, he'll make it up to me later. But later never came. The second time was worse. His band was supposed to perform at a bar downtown. They needed a sound system, lighting, and marketing, things they couldn't afford. Ryan came over to my apartment one evening, all charm and half-truths. "You're so good at organizing stuff," he said, playing with my hair. "What if we make this show special? Like, really professional. We could get banners, flyers, maybe a videographer." I smiled, flattered. "We?" He grinned. "You know what I mean. You're the smart one. You have the eye. I trust you." That night, I ended up calling contacts from my father's hotel network, people who owed him favors. Within days, I'd arranged sponsorships, printed posters, and even covered some of the costs myself. The event was a success. The bar was packed, the crowd cheered, and Ryan looked radiant on stage. He gave a speech afterward, thanking his friends, his team, his brothers. He didn't mention me once. I clapped anyway, smiling like it didn't hurt. Later that night, when we were alone, I teased him gently. "You forgot to thank your lucky charm." He laughed, kissed my forehead, and said, "Baby, I thank you every day just by loving you." And just like that, I melted again. The third time was when I should have known. It was close to his birthday, the one his friends later joked about at the club. He'd been dropping hints for weeks. Imagine celebrating on a rooftop, watching the sunrise from a hotel suite. He'd say, eyes gleaming, "One day, when I make it big, I'll give you that." I smiled, thinking it was just a dream. But a few days later, he sent me a photo of the hotel online with a message. "This place is insane. Wish I could spend my birthday there, but yeah, too expensive."
He didn't ask.
He didn't have to. I started planning immediately, calling the manager, booking a private dinner, arranging decorations. It wasn't just about impressing him, it was about showing him how much I believed in him. When I told him to keep his birthday free, he grinned and said, "You're full of surprises, huh?" At the time, I thought it was affection in his voice. Now I know it was triumph. Because that night outside the club, the night I overheard everything, was just days before the party I'd been secretly preparing. He already knew I was doing it. He was already bragging about it. Looking back, I realized Ryan never really asked me for anything. He didn't need to. He knew exactly what to say, how to sound helpless just enough to make me step in. He was a master of suggestion, planting ideas, letting me think they were mine. He once told Liam, laughing, "She just wants to feel useful. You just gotta let her think she's saving you." At the time, I thought he was joking. Now I can still hear the echo of that laughter in my head. My mother once told me, "Some people don't steal your money, sweetheart. They steal your goodness." I didn't understand what she meant back then. Now I do. Because Ryan didn't rob me in the usual way. He took my trust,
My time.
my belief in love,
Piece by piece.
smile by smile. And the worst part? I let him. I gave and he took. I believed and he lied. And somewhere along the way, I started mistaking his neediness for love, as if the more he depended on me, the more real we were. But real love doesn't drain you. Real love doesn't take until there's nothing left to give. Now, when I close my eyes, I can see all those moments clearly, like puzzle pieces rearranging themselves into a picture I was too blind to see before. The desperate messages, the sweet apologies, the little jokes about how spoiled I was, all of it was strategy. Every "I love you" had fine print I didn't read. He wasn't building a future with me. He was building himself, using me as the foundation. And that's the cruelest part of all. Because even now, part of me remembers how I used to look at him, with pride, with hope, with love that was pure and foolish. But that girl's gone. She died the night she heard him laughing about her generosity. And now, all that's left is the woman who will make sure he never laughs like that again. I don't know when exactly the love began to rot. Maybe it was already dying long before I noticed, behind his sweet texts and fake smiles. But that month, the lies finally started to show. Ryan had been distant again. Late replies. Canceled plans. Excuses that changed every time he opened his mouth. He said he was busy recording, that his band was finally getting traction. But there were no new songs, no gigs, no studio time, just long nights when he went offline. Then came the first real crack. I was at the cafe near campus when I saw Mia. She was laughing with her friends, flipping her perfect hair, showing off a new handbag. It was the exact same one I had bought Ryan last month, the limited edition, the one he said he'd gifted to his manager for helping the band. My stomach turned cold. That night, I checked my bank transactions, something I never used to do. There they were. Payments I didn't remember making. Luxury store names. Restaurants. hotel reservations. And all of them were charged to my card, the one Ryan had borrowed for emergencies. I wanted to believe it was a mistake. So I asked him,
Gently.
"Hey, did you use my card for something recently? There are a few charges I don't recognize." He didn't even flinch. "Yeah, babe, it's just for band stuff. You know how messy I am with receipts." "Band stuff at Luckstein?" I asked quietly. He smiled like I was being silly. "We had a meeting there. You worry too much." I nodded, but his eyes didn't meet mine. And that was when I knew he wasn't even trying to hide it anymore. The next week, I saw them together, outside the same restaurant. He was holding her hand, laughing. That kind of laugh you only make when you think no one's watching. My heart didn't break this time. It froze. I didn't confront him. I just stood across the street, watching. They looked comfortable, like this wasn't new, like it had been happening for a while. When she leaned in to kiss him, I turned away. The street light above me flickered. And for the first time, I wasn't sad. I was angry. That night, I went home and pulled out my old notebooks, the ones filled with his lyrics, his ideas, the plans I helped him write for his music career. Every dream we built together. He used them like tools to build a life without me. I laughed bitterly. "You used my money to impress her," I whispered to myself. "You built your world on me." And something inside me clicked into place. It wasn't weakness anymore. It was resolve. If he thought I'd keep crying in the dark, he didn't know me at all. If he thought I'd just disappear quietly, he was wrong. The next morning, I transferred all my money out of the shared account I'd opened for him. He had no idea yet. He still thought I was the same naive girl who'd buy his excuses. I wasn't. Then I called the manager of Luckstein and the Grandview Hotel, the same places he'd taken me at. Both confirmed the payments under my name, and both, interestingly, had security cameras. I smiled for the first time in days. It wasn't a happy smile. It was sharper, colder. If Ryan wanted to play games, I'd show him what it felt like to lose. That evening, he called me. "Hey babe, can you send me some cash? The studio's asking for advance rent." I paused, listening to his smooth voice, the one that used to make my heart melt.
Now, it made me sick.
"Sure," I said sweetly. "I'll handle it." "Thanks, Angel. You're the best." I hung up and sat there, staring at my phone. Every word he said felt like fuel on fire. He didn't know I had already started collecting evidence. Screenshots, receipts, recordings. Proof that every penny he spent on her was stolen from me. But my revenge wouldn't be about money. No, it would be about pride. About making him feel the same helplessness he gave me. That night, I looked out the window, the city lights glowing like distant stars. "I'll teach you, Ryan," I whispered. Not with shouting or tears, but with silence, with patience. The world outside was quiet, but inside me, a storm had begun to rise. They ordered the good champagne. Ryan posed. They took photos. They tagged me in a story with a smug caption, "My girl did good." He didn't even think to call me. He was already celebrating himself. Around 9, the manager arrived at their table. He was polite and formal, but his smile didn't cover the paperwork. "Good evening, gentlemen," he said. "I'm afraid there's a matter of payment that needs attention. The reservation and extra services are listed under Miss Barma's name. We need settlement for the balance." Ryan blinked. For the first time that night, his swagger stuttered. He waved a hand like it was a joke. "It's all taken care of." The manager's smile thinned. "Sir, there is an outstanding balance of $6,420. We require payment now, or we'll need to make alternative arrangements." There was a pause. Liam's phone, still lived to me, trembled in his hand. Troy and Max froze. A waiter adjusted his napkin and stared at Ryan like he was waiting for a punchline. Ryan paled. He fumbled for a card.
Declined.
He tried another. Declined. His friends looked at him and then at the manager. Faces shifted from laughter to shock. The room went small. The staff were professional. They were also not into losing money. The manager spoke quietly, but everyone heard. If the bill cannot be settled, we ask that you please assist staff in compensating for evening services. Ryan opened his mouth. Assist how? He asked, voice thin. The manager gestured to the housekeeping carts and the kitchen. Cleaning and service for night. Until settlement. I watched him stand up like a puppet. He turned to his friends, desperate. Cover me, he mouthed. They looked at their empty wallets and at the hotel staff. No one could fix this. The private video on my laptop caught every second. Liam stupidly kept recording. They handed Ryan an apron. It was a pale blue with a logo stitched on the corner. Troy ended up in the kitchen scrubbing pans. Max was at the sink, huddled under hot water and suds. Liam, who had been the loudest, was tasked with folding towels and stacking sterile cups in the service area, his phone still in his pocket like an indictment. The scene was ridiculous. It was humiliating. It was exactly what I wanted. For a solid hour, they sweated under fluorescent lights. Ryan mopped the lobby floor with exaggerated solemnity, cursing softly when the mop left streaks. He tried to glare at whatever cameras caught him, but this was not a moment he could pose in. The manager walked by with a detached air of someone used to surprising entitled guests with reality checks. They were tired, flustered, embarrassed. Troy's cuff slipped, and he shouted when a plate shattered. Max's tie was soaked. Liam kept muttering when guests passed, "Yes, sir." "Right away, ma'am." It was a comedy of errors. I laughed until I had tears in my eyes. I closed the laptop briefly, just to breathe. I did not answer his calls then. He called 3 times before he gave up. He was exhausted. He needed sleep. He needed to unclench his jaw. He didn't call because he couldn't. And I planned it that way. After a while, the hotel staff let them tidy up and change into spare staff shirts. The manager gave Ryan a short lecture about responsibility and consequences. Ryan nodded, face hollow. There were no cameras, no hashtags, no followers applauding him. Just the quiet hum of a dishwashing machine and the sound of him apologizing to a woman who had spilled a drink and to a waiter whose table he had accidentally upturned. I replayed the footage. I watched the way they moved, awkward, sheepish, human. The power in their swagger bled out. The boys were suddenly ordinary. I laughed again. It was a clean, sharp sound. Not cruel, not vicious. Just right. An idea struck me then, with the force of a bell. I pulled out my notes, the old ones with song ideas and beats Ryan had once loved to talk about. I thought of how he wanted fame without work, recognition without effort. I thought of their band and their desperate need for a story that would make people care. A plan formed, precise and delicious. I would take this footage, every mop stroke, every drenched apron, every embarrassed laugh. I would edit it into a music video. A funny, irreverent piece where Ryan and his friends were the punchline. Pair it with a goofy, upbeat track. Add captions. Make it sing about wishful thinking and the folly of greed. Make it viral. Make the world laugh with me. I smirked, feeling that cold, focused thrill of someone who finally had the upper hand. I could already see the thumbnail. Boys clean up their act. Grand view bloopers. The irony would sting. The world would watch. Ryan would have to face it, not just in person, in front of strangers with lungs full of laughter. The best part? He would not know it was coming until it hit. I opened my laptop, cued the video, and began to plan the edits in my head. I would wait until night, when attention peaks and people scroll hungry for anything funny. I would upload at midnight. I would make them stars of a different kind, not the kind Ryan wanted. The kind they would never forgive. He would wake up tomorrow, exhausted, and perhaps relieved the night was over. He would not expect the morning after. I watched him mop again on the screen, and I didn't feel hate. I felt the lightness of someone finally breathing after holding their breath too long. I typed a quick note to myself. Night upload. Funny beat. Title. Genie's Last Wish. Then I played the footage one more time. I laughed out loud, small and satisfied. The sound of someone who had turned pain into a weapon that didn't hurt anyone but the guilty. The girl who had been broken was gone. In her place was a woman with a camera, a plan, and a very sharp sense of timing. Tonight, I would be patient. Tonight, I would wait. And at midnight, I would press upload. When I woke up, the world was already laughing. My phone buzzed nonstop. Notifications, mentions, messages. Ryan's face filled my screen, wearing an apron, a mop in one hand, sweat dripping as he cleaned the hotel floor. The video I edited was now everywhere. 5-star cleaning service, featuring Ryan and company. Dream big, mop bigger. From VIP table to wiping the table. Millions of views in just hours. People couldn't get enough of it. I sat on my couch with my laptop open, sipping coffee. Each replay made me smile wider. The part where Troy slipped on soapy water. The close-up of Ryan's miserable face. The ending title I added, Be Careful What You Wish For. It was perfect. Every frame poetic. By 8 a.m., Ryan started calling. By the 4th missed call, I finally picked up. Ava. His voice cracked. What the hell did you do? I smiled. Good morning, Ryan. Don't you good morning me. You posted that video. The whole college has seen it. Really? I asked.
Wow.
It's performing even better than I thought. He groaned. You made us a joke. People are calling us janitors online. Technically, I said calmly, that's accurate. This isn't funny. My reputation, my band. Oh, please, I interrupted. You've always said your music needed authenticity. I just gave you a realistic theme. Struggle. Hard work. Team spirit. It's touching. Ava. Relax, I said softly. I didn't call to fight. There's something important we need to discuss. I'll be at your place in an hour. Tell your friends to be there too. What for? You'll see. Oh, and make sure Mia's there as well. She's part of your life now, isn't she? He went silent. I smiled, and before he could respond, I hung up. When I arrived, I didn't even need to knock. The sound of chaos leaked through the door. Bro, my mom saw the video. My cousin sent it to our group chat. Man, we're screwed. And Mia's voice, sharp, impatient. Stop yelling. We'll figure something out. I waited a second, then knocked twice. The noise stopped instantly. Then Ryan opened the door. He looked awful. Puffy eyes. Hair mess. Shirt wrinkled like he'd slept in it. Behind him, his friends sat slumped on the couch. Troy, Liam, Max, and Mia perched beside them, arms crossed, glaring. Well, I said cheerfully, stepping inside. This looks cozy. Morning, everyone. Ryan's jaw tightened. You've got some nerve showing up here. Of course I do, I said lightly. I wanted to congratulate you on your viral success. Liam muttered, You're insane. I smiled. You said that last time too. Ryan took a deep breath. Just say whatever you came here for, Ava. We've had enough of your games. Games? I tilted my head. I thought we were partners in creativity. Mia rolled her eyes. Can we get to the point? Some of us have real things to do. Oh, I'm sure you do, I said, smiling faintly. Let's talk about that, actually. The band account, for instance. Ryan stiffened. What about it? I checked it this morning, I said, pulling out my phone. Apparently, the funds are going to all sorts of interesting places. Hotels, restaurants, jewelry stores. But not music studios. Liam frowned. Wait, what? Troy leaned forward. That money's supposed to be for promotion. Ryan tried to sound casual. Yeah, I know. It's just expenses. You know how accounting gets messy. Messy. I raised an eyebrow because I saw a charge for a diamond necklace. Quite an expensive mess. The room went quiet. Ryan's throat moved as he swallowed hard. Mia shifted uncomfortably, glancing at him. Then she blurted out, "That necklace wasn't even that expensive, Ryan." The second the words left her mouth, she froze. Everyone stared at her. Liam blinked.
Wait,
Ryan, you bought her a necklace? Mia turned red. What? No, I didn't mean. Ryan hissed under his breath. Mia, shut up. She ignored him. You said it was your money. You told me you handled the bills and that she didn't even check the accounts. Troy stood up suddenly. Hold up.
she?
You mean Ava's money? Mia realized too late what she'd done. I didn't, Ryan told me. Oh my God. Ryan groaned, dragging a hand over his face. Mia, just stop. But the damage was already done. Liam stared at him in disbelief. Bro, you've been using her money? For your dates?
Troy scoffed.
And you made us believe it was band funds? Mia stammered. He said she didn't care, that she was rich, that she liked doing things for him. Ryan shouted, Enough, Mia. I stood there quietly, arms folded, watching the truth unravel by itself.
No anger.
No yelling, just satisfaction. After a long pause, I sighed.
Well,
that was more efficient than I expected. Ryan turned to me, face pale. Ava, please. You have to listen. Oh, I'm listening, I said calmly. I just don't believe you anymore. I walked a few steps closer, my tone light but cutting. You know, Ryan, I used to admire your confidence. You lied so easily, like it was a second language. But the problem with lies is they always trip over each other eventually. He looked at me helplessly. Ava, I made mistakes, okay? But I can fix it. You already did, I said. You fixed my perception of you. Mia opened her mouth, then closed it again, guilt all over her face. Liam shook his head. You're unbelievable, man. You ruined the band. Troy muttered, and dragged us down with you. I looked at all of them, then smiled slightly. Don't worry, boys. I'm not pressing charges yet, but I've kept records of everything. If a single cent more goes missing, the police will have a very entertaining set of evidence. Ryan's voice cracked. Ava, please.
I'm sorry.
I'll pay it back. I tilted my head. With what money? The one you spent on hotel suites. He flinched. I took a breath and softened my tone just a little. You see, Ryan, I didn't come here to scream or cry. I came to say thank you. He blinked.
What?
Yeah, thank you for finally showing me who you are. You made it easy to stop loving you. For a moment, the room was silent except for Ryan's uneven breathing. Then I smiled faintly, turned toward the door, and added, Oh, and happy belated birthday. Hope the celebration was worth it. I walked out before anyone could speak. Outside, the morning air felt lighter than ever. The laughter from the street below, the warmth of the sun, it all felt like freedom. Behind me, I could hear shouting again. Accusations, apologies, anger. Their chaos, not mine. I slipped on my sunglasses and smiled to myself. Ryan's lies had collapsed. Not because I screamed them out loud, but because his own lover did it for me. And that, I thought, was the sweetest revenge of all. The video finally stopped trending after a few weeks. People moved on, as they always do. But I didn't. For me, it wasn't just a viral moment. It was the line between before and after. Before, I was the girl who believed love meant sacrifice. After, I became the woman who understood that love without respect is just self-destruction dressed in romance. The first few weeks after the confrontation were quiet. Almost too quiet. My days used to revolve around Ryan's calls, his messages, his needs. Now my mornings began with coffee, sunlight, and silence, and for the first time, it felt peaceful, not empty. I started reading again. Painting again. I hadn't realized how much of myself I'd abandoned to keep him happy. One day, I found an old notebook, the one I used to write ideas for his music videos. It was full of dreams I'd made for someone else. So, I tore out the pages that mentioned him and started writing my own. Weeks passed. Ryan's name stopped popping up on my phone, on my feeds, in my head. The band broke up. Mia disappeared from social media completely. Sometimes, late at night, I'd still think about that girl. The one standing outside the club, hearing her boyfriend laugh about her. I'd think about how she shattered that night, and how, piece by piece, she built herself again. Then one morning, an email arrived. Subject: I'm sorry. It was from Ryan. I stared at the name for a long minute before opening it. Ava, I know I don't deserve your time, but please read this once. I've sent you the first part of the money I owe. I'll send the rest as soon as I can. I know it won't change anything, but it's what I should have done months ago. I'm not writing to get forgiveness. I just wanted you to know that you were right. About everything. You were kind when I was cruel. You were honest when I was fake. You deserved better. I was just too stupid to see it. I hope someday you find someone who actually knows what you're worth. Ryan. I didn't cry. I didn't smile either. I just closed the laptop, leaned back in my chair, and whispered, "You're too late." But I did check my account. The transfer was real. A chunk of what he'd taken was back. It wasn't the money that mattered. It was the message beneath it. He knew he'd lost me forever. Months passed. Seasons changed. I started my own little creative studio, helping local musicians and artists design promotional videos and digital content. Irony, right? The girl who once built someone else's dream was now building her own. Clients loved my work. I used simple storytelling, emotion, the kind that connects with people. And every time a video went viral, I'd think, this one's mine. One afternoon, while editing a short film, I caught my reflection on the screen. Hair tied up, soft smile, focused eyes. I looked different. Not hardened, just wiser. Like a flame that learned how to burn without destroying itself. That night, as I packed up my laptop, I caught the city lights reflecting through the window. Thousands of little glimmers. They looked like the pieces of the girl I used to be, scattered, but still shining. And I realized something simple, something powerful. I wasn't broken anymore. I was rebuilt. Not the naive girl who believed love was about giving everything. Not the fool who mistook attention for affection. But the woman who finally understood that love starts with self-respect and ends with peace. Sometimes I still think of that night outside the club. How I stood there, heart in pieces, hearing him laugh at me. I don't hate that memory anymore. Because without that moment, I wouldn't have found myself. Pain has a strange way of turning into power when you stop running from it. And I stopped running a long time ago. He called me his genie once, the girl who granted his every wish. But now I make my own. And this time, I'm the one who decides which dreams come true.